In this webinar, we wanted to focus on the experience of the practitioner. What is it that successful program leaders are doing to deliver truly great programs? So where better to start than with our ACE award winners? These practitioners have demonstrated solid customer experience methodology, but also they've achieved that holy grail of delivering those elusive business outcomes that we're all looking for. Recently, I got on the phone with 3 of our 2017 ACE award winners to see if we could find out the secrets of their success. So let me introduce my three guests. Firstly, we've got James Elliott from Bupa Global. We have Stefan Hogenberg from Cognita and Andrea Brimmer from Ali. So firstly, let's hear from James from Bupa, giving us a quick overview of his program.
Yeah, sure. So the purpose of our program really is to measure customer pain and effort throughout their journey and their interactions with us. We use their feedback really as on their behalf as their champions, as a powerful voice through the organization for change. And I guess ultimately it's about cultural change to the business, so that we are providing the business and decision makers with live, real-time customer insights, so that we can say that every decision that we make is truly orientated around the customer need.
Fantastic. And when across the customer journey are you capturing feedback and driving that into the business?
So we capture feedback at all stages of the customer journey, from buy through to fulfillment, through to claim, through to even when a customer lapses with us. But I guess our 2 main touch points are the claim survey, understanding the customer's experience when they really call on us to respond, and also the relationship survey to test their satisfaction with the product and their affiliation with our brand.
Great stuff from James from Bupa. Next, we're going to hear from Stefan about a program in a very different industry, schools across the globe.
Yeah, so the purpose of the program that we have in Cognita is to achieve the ultimate goal of delivering educational excellence. The key objectives of the programs are retaining customers, grow lifetime value, acquire new customers by word of mouth and reputation, and retain and develop the best teaching staff in Cognita. We do this by global KPIs that we agreed up in the organization, which is NPS, net ease, and satisfaction in all school aspects. We do this with students, parents, and employees. And the people that are currently using the platform are our school admission and marketing officers. It's used in our school improvement network, so school heads, heads of secondary and primary, and our educational advisors.
Wow, it's great to hear about a program that's capturing so much feedback from teachers, students, and the parents. Amazing. Finally, let's get a quick overview of the Ally program from Andrea.
Yeah, so Ally is a brand that was born out of customer centricity, and clearly in order to be born out of customer centricity, you have to stay close to the voice of the customer. So our program is about both transactional experiences on feedback as well as relationship feedback, and it's an ongoing program where we're proactively reaching out to customers to understand how they feel about Ally and how their relationship is working with us.
That's great. And can you tell us a little bit about how you're using that feedback across Ali?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, as a customer-centric company, obviously voice of the customer has to be the backbone of everything that you do. So we look at it really in 3 different ways. We interact with our business leaders in order to drive product development. We interact with our experience leaders, so whether it's digital, whether it's mobile, whether it's advertising and marketing, to really understand what we're getting from customer standpoint to improve the customer transactions in interaction with us. And third, we really look at voice of the customer and we let that really shape the future of Ally. What are things that customers are looking for from us as we become their financial partner? What are the things they're looking for in the marketplace? And how can we really utilize that consumer's voice to create a better way forward?
Isn't it great to hear about customer experience being seen as the backbone of the business, the the go-to place for leaders across the organisation. Next, I wanted to understand how these programs are really driving change. So let's go back to Andrea and hear how Ally are driving people to do something differently.
Yeah, well, I would tell you that in terms of doing things differently, our Voice of the Customer program is foundational for us. As a digital financial services company, it's critical that we are leading edge with regard to not only our products, but mostly our experiences. So we use Voice of the Customer in a number of ways. One, we use it for associate coaching. How do we ensure that our people are giving our customers the best service possible? The second is really around product development. How do we use it to improve or drive new product development? And then the third is really around our overall business strategy. You know, as a digital financial services company, how do we be leading edge? What's the next thing that customers are looking for in this ever-changing space? And how do we stay out ahead of that? So it's really used in a very inclusive manner within Ally across the totality of the organization because it is the backbone and it is foundational to our digital roadmap.
Let's move from digital financial services back into the world of schools and hear what Stefan had to say on the change he is driving.
Cultural changes is not done in one day. It's not done if you implement the program tomorrow and you will see a cultural change tomorrow. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort. But thanks to all the effort that we've put into it, we were able to organize best practices. We were able to react immediately thanks to the system being available in all countries global, as we have 68 schools all around the world, and to be able to drive the action immediately.
Great. Can you give a couple of examples of any actions that have actually been taken, Stefan?
Yeah, so during our Voice of Parent program, right from the start, we were able to drive service changes, which are immediate changes that we can do. We tightened contracts with transportation services, so the bus services in school. We were able to expand our extracurricular activities in some schools and improve them. Thanks to our Voice of Student program, we were able to react straight away on safeguarding issues. We were able to eliminate bullying in some of the schools or react on bullying, and our Voice of Employee allowed us to give more focus on not just the teachers, but as well those who support the teaching staff.
Culture change is an ongoing battle for many of us, so it's great to hear how Cognita are seeing those smaller actions roll up into that wider culture change. And finally, let's go back to James at Bupa.
Yeah, sure. So as you say, taking action really is the point of conducting all of this analysis. And I think, to be fair, it's one of the things that we've struggled with the most. And through speaking to other organisations, they also struggle with that ability to execute on the back of customer insights and analysis. So what we did last year, decided that we'd done enough listening, we'd done enough learning, and that we really needed to advance our capability in our change space. So we set up a formal sort of governance committee, the Customer Experience Review Committee, and we gave it a permission, if you like, to review customer feedback and analysis and suggest to the business change ideas. And I think what making it a formal committee gave us was the ability to escalate the customer voice really all the way up to our executive team and our investment committee, so that stuff within our control we could just do, but then stuff that required further sort of strategic investment we could escalate formally throughout our corporate governance.
I really like the point that James made at the beginning about how they got to the stage of, enough listening, enough learning. They needed to do something. So let's go back to James and hear about the biggest impact the program has had.
Yeah, so on the transactional side, we used the research to help us redefine our proposition to the customer during their claim. So there's always a sweet spot between operational expenditure and total, complete customer delight, if you like. And so on the back of that research, we found the sweet spot, and we reduced the turnaround time for a customer from 7 days down to 4 days, which we found to be the sweet spot.
Let's hear from Stefan about the sweet spot for Cognita.
The biggest impact would be is that inside Cognita we were able to act on facts rather than hearsay. For example, in a school, teaching staff or a head teacher or somebody would say, we need a swimming pool. If we don't get a swimming pool, our parents will go and pick their students and they go to the competition. But by looking at the feedback from parents, we actually realized that we don't need a swimming pool and we only need to reduce class sizes. So we can focus directly on what really matters for parents because in the end of the day, it's a big investment they make to put their children in one of our schools in Cognita. It allowed us as well to prioritize better. Maybe in some schools the facilities were already state-of-the-art and we don't need to invest more in facilities. And we need to invest more in teaching and learning or in the educational level. But it allows us really to look at the best value for money for a parent, for a student, and at the end of the day for the employees as well.
That's fantastic, Stefan. I think you make a really good point there around, helping people with that prioritization, helping them make, a good decision based on the feedback from all those different stakeholders who have really valid perspectives on Cognita, don't they?
Yeah, we do. And one of the good things of the program is that we don't just look at the negatives. We really value the positive things, and we want to get the most benefit out of the positive comments as well. So if a head teacher logs in to their results, they don't just see a parent complaining. No, they actually see a parent giving compliments on either teaching staff, either the head teacher itself, or about the school in general. So that's another really good thing that comes out of the program is to get the positive and not just the negative.
Wasn't it great to hear what Stefan said about making decisions based on facts rather than hearsay? It's groundbreaking stuff. I do feel for the poor kids though, don't you, not getting their swimming pool. So let's though finally hear from Andrea at Ali.
Well, I would tell you the biggest impact it's had is, to be honest with you, the creation of our entire brand promise and our entire reason for being as a company. I mean, development of the program really occurred simultaneously with the development of our brand. Our brand was born out of solving for customer pain points in the midst of the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. And we could only fulfill on our promise to do right by our customers if we listened to them at the onset and continued to listen to them through the entirety of the existence of our company. And so by listening to our customers, every day we're able to provide really smart, really straightforward solutions that are in their best interest and ultimately deliver financial services that truly serve people.
That's really fascinating. So, when you went out to speak to your customers, did you get any surprises? Did you hear what you thought you were going to hear from them?
I think we did get a huge surprise, and to me the huge surprise was how apathetic customers were about the financial services category and how little emotion they had around something that was such an emotional subject like their money. And so when we went out and we listened to Voice of the Customer and we started to really explore pain points, things like, why should I have to pay high ATM fees? Why should call center representatives get rewarded for how quickly they get people off the phone versus customer problem resolution? Why should I not be able to transact with somebody at any time of the night, 24/7? Why does that service not exist? Why can't I get an in-language experience when I want to talk to somebody about my money? Those were the kinds of things that we heard, and it was surprising to us that until now, people hadn't really questioned those things. They just accepted them. And so it became the backbone of what our promise was to do right by people, to be very straightforward, and to solve for those customer pain points.
I don't know about you, but I always love it on webinars when people talk about what went wrong. Sometimes it's easier for us, isn't it, to learn from what went wrong rather than what went right, so we don't fall into the same potholes. So I asked our three guests what they would have done differently with their programs. Let's start with Andrea.
Well, I would say, probably the thing that we would have done was initiated a more broad-based means of sharing customer feedback sooner. I've been surprised at how many people throughout the organization are interested in customer feedback. Even if it doesn't impact their everyday job, they still want to know what our customers are saying about us and our products and our services as they think about their role in the organization. And so that's been a pretty big aha moment for us. We probably would hire more people more quickly too in this area. It's a big strain to be out and trying to accumulate all of this voice of the customer feedback on a regular basis and disseminating the information out. And so I would tell you, if you're serious about it and it's as important to your company as it is to us, make sure you're resourced properly to be able to handle the amount of feedback that you're going to get in.
There was a really good message there for us from Andrea. Everyone is interested in the feedback. That's really good to hear, that they want to know what customers think. But resource can be an issue. Let's hear what James learned about getting the right resource from the business.
I think the best example I can give is last year. In fact, we took the decision to migrate quite a large and complex program from another provider to the Confirmit platform. Now, that obviously entailed a large amount of work at our end on data, on compliance, all throughout the organization. And I guess I underestimated quite how much reliance I would have to have on different areas of the business within Bupa. I perhaps stupidly assumed that my passion that I have for the program was commensurate throughout the organisation. I probably also assumed that people didn't have day jobs to do as well. So I guess the one thing that I would do was to really tee that up better. If I was to do it again, I would have conversations much earlier than I did. I would make sure that we had the right investment and backing and time and resource and priority around the change, rather than the situation that did occur, which was I really had to negotiate and to pray and to try and carry favour with people all throughout of last year in an attempt to land what was in the end a successful migration.
And finally, Stefan. Let's hear his learnings from working on a truly global program.
To be honest, we wouldn't have done a lot of things different. Probably the only thing we would have done different in Confirmit is that all schools are different. We're in different time zones, we're in different regions, there's different cultures. Even in a country, between a school that's either in London or somewhere in Essex, there's a huge difference. So the only thing we would have probably done different is to pilot in smaller schools. So pilot in smaller, to break it down in smaller sessions. So rather than just getting 68 schools or 69 schools on board in the first year, is to pilot it out, get the best of those pilot sessions in those different schools, and then try to combine it into one global program.
And is that around tailoring the approach for the individual school, Stefan? Yes.
Yeah. So if you have a school that has 2,500 students, your objectives are most likely completely different than a school that only has 200 students. Plus, the culture that's in a school, that's in a big school, is a lot different than there is in a small school. In a small school, it's a lot more a family focus, so everybody knows each other. The head teacher comes in, can name all of the students. In a bigger school, that's a lot more challenging. So yeah, it's tailoring to ensure that we fit the needs of all the schools.
It sounds like understanding the local priorities and the local culture is clearly fundamental if you want the programme to stick. It's been great to hear about the experiences of our 2017 ACE Award winners and their tips and tricks. But let's now turn our attention to the 2018 awards that are currently open for submissions. Let's see if we can get any advice from our guests. Firstly, Stefan.
Yeah, so if it's your first time entry, focus on the small things, not just the big things. Often a program takes time for it to have effect in an organization, and it takes time for you to see the real benefits of your program. So even the smallest things that happened in your organization thanks to your program is a success story. If it's your second or third or fourth time that you enter the ACE Awards, or if it's the fourth year that you do your program, it's a good opportunity to raise awareness again in your organization. Sometimes programs go still, they don't improve, or you don't see the real benefits of it, but this can really get awareness, get engagement in your organization, and it kind of puts your program out there, not just internally, but as well external.
And James?
Yeah, I would say that that they definitely should. It's a fantastic thing to be a part of. It delivered a really rewarding experience for the teams involved here at Bupa. As for the application itself, I would say focus on something small that has actually moved the dial for your customers, that has actually delivered a tangible customer benefit or a tangible financial benefit for your organization. It's very easy to get carried away with the volume of ideas and the generation of ideas. I think one idea done really, really well is way better than 20 ideas that never make it out of conceptual discussion.
And lastly, let's hear from Andrea.
Sure. So I always think awards are important because to me, awards are a validation of the work that your team has put in. So first and foremost, I would say just fill it out. Take the time and fill it out. And secondly, I'd really focus on the actions that your company has executed upon in the way that it used customer feedback. Be very clear and deliberate in the answers that you give tangible results, and just fill it out and have fun with the form.
A big thank you to James, Stefan and Andrea. There was some great advice there. And if I were to pull 3 points out, they would be these. 1, focus on real examples, real actions. Secondly, make sure you highlight the business benefits. Numbers talk. And finally, just to repeat Andrea's point, try and have some fun. So I hope you found the last half an hour useful. For me, it's been jam-packed with great stories and advice. So thank you again to our 3 contributors, Stefan Hogenberg from Cognita, James Elliott from Bupa Global, and Andrea Brimmer from Ally.